Good evening. Welcome to the May 1st, 2018 regular selectmen's meeting. There's all the selectmen in here, along with the town manager, the town clerk. There's one of our customer service reps, chief of the fire department, and Chris Wiseman from the water department. They're all here, along with a few members of the public. Please stand with me and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order is the approval of the meeting minutes from our April 17th meeting.
So moved.
Seconded.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain. All right. Brings us to our first public comment. First public comment is 15 minutes long. If you have a comment, please step to the podium, state your name, and address all questions, complaints, and curses to me. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Public hearing. We have no scheduled public hearing tonight. Reports of committees. BCTV.
Hi. Let's see, BCTV's had some real excitement. We are now Wi-Fi connected with a camera that can record. So far, I've got it to the monument. My goal is to get it over to the corner so that on Memorial Day, we'll be able to go live for the ceremony on the bridge and the one in our downtown area, which is kind of neat. That'll be the first time on doing that. We'll also be able to do the car show, farmers markets, those type of things, which will be kind of fun. Almost caught up on video editing thanks to Tammy Cole. She has been volunteering her time and she is doing fantastic at learning editing. She produced her 4th or 5th video today, and that went up on the Connect system, and it's going up on our broadcast, which is kind of fun. I had a new volunteer come in. His name is Kevin Gray. He had his own production studio in New York, upper state New York, and he volunteered for the local public access station there. And he has offered to do some videotaping for us as well, and he has actually talked about potentially doing some shows, creating some shows, which would be kind of fun. Otherwise, we're looking at adding another volunteer. I've contacted Deborah. She is the Lebanon, Maine Truth Seeker person, and she had offered to assist set up and break down for the school board meetings. As summer approaches, I'm thinking that Maureen may want to take some time with her family. Completely understand that and want to give her that flexibility. So I have another person lined up, and she can assist me with recording as well. Otherwise than that, we're still waiting to hear back on the extension lines from Comcast. I believe that we have sent them our final proposal on that, and we're just waiting for that to be signed off on. Any questions?
No. Doing a good job, thank you.
Thank you.
are.
Thank you.
Envision Berwick. We have nobody from Envision Berwick, and I wasn't at their last meeting, so I can't fill anybody in. That brings us to appointment presentations and other guests. We're supposed to have Port City Architecture here to go over the plans for the fire department. They did not come down today.
Are they out of Portland?
Yes. Yeah. They're out of Portland. They're a no-show. I'm sure we will get them here for our next meeting.
Yes, we will.
And I'm sure they will be hearing from us tomorrow about why they're not here tonight. I will say that we did put up a video about the 3 different sites that are being considered. That's been up and running for a week or so.
Was that on BCTV?
Yeah. And there seems to be a lot of interest in that.
What are the 3 sites?
The Pine Hill site, the Cemetery Road site, and the Estabrook School were the 3 that we looked at.
Just the Pine Hill site, that the one,
The one up past the trailer park.
on the left?
On the left-hand side, yeah. It's part of a 30-acre parcel The owner said that he would sell us 5 acres, but he wanted access road into the back parcel, his back parcel. And the way the front of the parcel is set up, we'd actually have to put the building back in quite a ways in order to get the room we need to get the trucks in and out. But,
How long of a road?
oh, well, to put the fire station back in, we figured it'd probably be 300 feet or more back in. And then to give him access to his lot would probably be another couple hundred feet back in. So, in the video,
Water and sewer and everything you brought in there.
right. In the videos we put up, we
We'll
put
do
up
that if he gives us a lot, a 4-acre lot. That's worth it itself.
we
Gotta be something
It
to
is.
that. That's-
No,
that's
absolutely.
not- that's
You're right.
not a good deal at all.
But yeah, he was willing to sell us 5 acres for what,
$160,000.
$160,000.
That's what he wanted, is 160,000
Yes.
for it?
Yeah. Well, he,
Put those utilities into it for him?
the way it seems like he was looking at it as 2 house lots, and that's what house lots are going for in Berwick nowadays, I guess. And so, but yeah, we will be in contact with them tomorrow, I'm sure, and they will be here for our next meeting. Brings us to unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business?
Why are we even having that as one of the places? Because it doesn't work.
Well,
There's nothing else nearby, nothing else we can come up with?
It's in the area that the fire department
Yeah,
has
yeah.
identified as being the growth area.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that section of Pine Hill Road is pretty grown up with houses all along the frontage, and there's the bigger acreages, but they're all behind all the houses, and access into them is a problem. So, brings us to town manager report.
No word from Mark Kahaya from Funds of Jupiter or his attorney. From what I understand, they are working on the closing, but I can't seem to get a response out of them either way. So we'll wait and see. I emailed them again today and left a message, but no response. The company that took down the sober home will be back this spring to do some leveling out and make that a little bit flatter. It's been very busy, with people using it for recreation parking. It's getting 30 or 40 cars up there, which is pretty good. We have a new police department employee filled the position that we had open, Brendan Reel. He had done some work with us as part-time, and he had been working for the Wells Police Department. He's a younger man. Welcome him aboard, and we also have a new fire department employee, Kyle Lavoy. Sam Tibbetts moved on to the yard, so filling some of the positions there. So Kyle is...
Working with the fire department at the yard?
What's that?
Is he on the fire department at the yard?
No, he's not. He's working for Wyndham Fire Department right now.
Oh, so Sam went to work at Wyndham, not the yard, not the shipyard.
Oh, Sam, you talking, I thought you were talking about Kyle.
Oh, no, Sam,
Sam went to the shipyard.
Fire department,
No,
different job. Yeah.
midlife crisis.
This young man we hired is finishing up his second-year associate's degree at University of Southern Maine, or Southern Maine Tech, I guess it is, the fire program there. He's been working for the Wyndham Fire Department, so he's a good choice. I've been getting a lot of calls on the secondhand shop. People do not like the idea that we're closing it for the weekend, so we may have to discuss that.
And I've been pushing them to you.
You have.
Send Pro one, shut
They
that
have
damn
been calling
shop.
and sending emails.
Telling you, we could sell coffee and hot dogs there all day.
So
Are you volunteering?
No, volunteer, but cash business. I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like that. The calls I got and emails from that damn thing, glad you brought it up.
Yeah, yeah, it's just a lot of,
Can't believe it.
they're not happy. So we
It
may
is.
have to rethink that.
Think
So
you
before
no
we
doubt about it.
enact, I need to spend some time up there to see what's going on. I got an interesting call today, but, so we will revisit it at our next meeting and see.
So we're gonna change it?
I don't know yet. I need to go see what's going on. So Robert and I will talk with the operators up there and see their thoughts, so, and check a few things out.
It's just the location of it when you first drive in. I mean, it's just the parking, that's what needs to be managed.
You wanna put it outside the gate?
I mean, I hate to close it if there's a need for it
Well, there
and people
definitely
want
is
it.
people want it.
But it's just, it needs to be, it's when you first drive in, it's right there and
It's a
maybe
real
with.
bottleneck.
Yeah,
We just don't
I
have a
mean,
lot of room.
We can't
Right.
push it
Move
down that
things
far
around.
end somewhere?
That's what I'm thinking. Is there
Put
any
a
way to
brush it
move
towards where
it?
they brush or something, dig out of the banking and take some
No,
of
we
that
can't.
soil.
Whole new
We
building?
can't take the
No,
banking
we're not
out.
doing a new
No,
building.
not a building.
What do you
Just
mean
move the
push?
building
Oh, you're talking
down-
about
The parking, well, at least parking or something
Move
where
the
they're
building down
not.
the far end where the brush goes. Get them out of the way.
That would make it worse,
It would.
yeah.
Reverse the traffic flow and then
Something.
paint lines.
Yeah, we'll look at that, and we can
Or
always
all-
postpone it, making any changes at this
Do a
point.
workshop
We are
for
gonna
that.
change the containers, and we'll see how that works.
Right, that might help.
That may help. Recreation, the summer program is in full swing. They have been signing up. They're getting a lot of turnout this year, which is good. Kim said her numbers are a little bit higher than they were last year at this time. She's got the staff signed up and ready to go. So she's dealing with some personal, family issues, but she's on leave, medical leave, but she'll be back hopefully for the summer start.
Are they doing, is it 6 weeks this year?
Yeah, they're doing an extra week. There was a
7?
lot of people asked for that.
Right, that's
So
what,
we added an extra week. So,
so she's doing 7 this
yeah,
year?
7 weeks, yep.
How do we stand with that? Do we break even? We make money?
We break even, it pretty much pays for itself.
Okay.
It's a little bit, not all of Kim's funding comes, for her wages and stuff, but for the summer people it does. So
Covers her wages?
Yeah. So,
That's good.
It's a great program, it really is.
also next week, or next meeting, you'll get a request we had a request from MMA, their Legislative Policy Committee. They have about 70 members who participate, and it's elected officials or appointed officials to serve on that committee. They meet once a month and discuss some of the legislation that they think they should put forth, or what the legislature is having put forth that impact municipalities. Right now, the town manager from South Berwick attends from this region. So just keep that in mind when you, because you'll have to decide if you want to send anybody up that or support that.
I served on that for 1 year when I first came back on the board, and, it sounds like a good idea, but I found it to be a waste of my time, to travel up to Augusta once a month and to discuss what already being done in the legislature, and, is more or less they have their lobbyists up at the Augusta anyway, the Maine Municipal Association, and they keep us all informed about what's going on anyways, so but if somebody wants to volunteer to do it, I'm not gonna turn them away, but
Too busy.
That's all I have.
Selectmen's communication, I did not have anything, although I didn't check my mailbox this morning. That brings us to accounts payable. We have a water warrant 0842 from March 19th, 2018 for the amount of $6,901.18. An account payable warrant 1842 from March 19th, 2018 for the amount of $80,406.67. Water warrant 0843 from March 26th, 2018 for the amount of $9,171.79.
Excuse me, Tom. They're all April, not March.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Sorry, gentlemen.
I saw the change in the last one, I'm a month behind. All right, so April 26, 2018 is AP warrant 1843 for the amount of $89,409.64. Is payroll warrant 1843 from April 26, 2018. The amount of $55,640.04. Payroll warrant 1844 for May 3rd, 2018. The amount of $51,904.23. I make the motion that we pay our bills.
Second your motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. That brings us to new business. And first up is Water Department filtration rehabilitation bids. Steve's going to walk us through this.
Chris will answer some questions if you have them. This is our rehabilitation of what they call a Trident filter rehab project. We had an engineering company, Tish and Bond, who came in and spent quite a bit of time with the water department and did a whole thorough examination of our infrastructure there and make recommendations. It was completed in 2016. And this was one of the first things on their list of things that we probably should look at rehabbing. It was put into service in 1999, so it's been quite a few years. And it was estimated at the time to be around $94,800. We put it out to bid. Tish and Bond did all the RFPs and put it out to bid, and then presented us with the people who bid. You had three. It came in. The low bid was Penta Corporation, at $135,300. We've gone back and forth about timing on this. It's a very expensive project. We had initially, I think you had looked at possibly starting in June, and we decided to push it back a little bit because that was peak water usage time, so we're going to push it back to October if they're willing to hold that bid till then, if that's who you award it to. So we'll do it this fall, and it will take about 2 months, and it'll involve all operating.
That's not too long in the fall, October, November?
No,
That's not gonna screw things up in the cold.
it's all done
days?
inside, so it's.
It's all done inside,
Yeah.
okay.
The funding, we have undesignated fund balance that we'll use that for. It'll cover all of that, and we still should have enough left to continue operating according to our finance director. So it's something, if you have any questions, you can ask Chris. Their recommendation is to Penta Corporation to do the job.
You've interviewed them, Chris, and talked to every one of them?
Yeah.
Chris Wiseman, Berwick Water Department, the contractors. You're speaking about the contractors?
Yeah, Penta?
Yes, the engineers said that they have worked with Penta several times before. They're very effective and conscientious, and the list of projects which they offered as background in their bid goes on and on and on, from small things to huge things.
Yeah.
So, Moulton Borough, New Hampshire, they're from.
Right.
Yeah. So, seems like a good choice.
How is this going to affect the water supply to the users? Is it going to diminish their use, or are they going to have certain times, or?
It shouldn't be a factor, as we've got two filters, and one will be worked on at a time.
Gotcha, okay.
And the other one will have to run about twice as many hours, but there shouldn't be any challenges in that.
You're actually gonna put two in?
Well, he has two already.
Yeah.
So they're gonna work on one while one is operating.
Right, but they put this piece of equipment on both of the tanks?
Yes, there will be some equipment replacements that go on both tanks.
And what does it actually do?
The filter? Yeah, it's sort of the heart of the treatment process. Chemicals are important, but in order to get the color out and the turbidity out, what we have to do is add chemicals that collect those things into something that's big enough to filter out. And yeah, so the filter really does the work. When it comes out of the filter, it's clear, but it still has to be disinfected. But that's the only real remaining step after that. So
So we won't see this dark water again after this is done?
it shouldn't make any difference to that. The media, the anthracite coal and the sand that is the filter, will be replaced. And so there may be some moderate improvement there. Over time, the grains of the media actually become rounded off because of the
Turbidity.
the swirling action of the water.
So what are you telling me? We could end up with dark water again?
No, it will only be better.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Good man.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
I would move we accept the bid by Penta Corporation in the amount of $135,300 for the, what is it, Trident Rehabilitation? Is that what it's called?
Yes. I second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? 5-0.
Also with the water, it's kind of an interesting story with the standpipe. We had the company come up to do an inspection with cameras and
Yeah?
when they got here, it was still fairly cold, so we had 3 feet of ice on the inside.
3 feet of ice?
Yeah, this was in two-thirds of the way through April, and there wasn't any ice on the river for weeks. But this is a crew from Kentucky. Big company down there. They drive around, and so they hit a bunch of places and they return home. So they weren't worried about crawling in there and walking around on the ice. They said it was really thick.
Really?
So it's a natural phenomenon. A big steel tank like that, the water will get below freezing during the winter. And it takes a while for it to
Thaw.
melt off, even though the water that's coming in is above freezing. So, yeah,
So that takes up some capacity.
a little bit, yeah. But it's not a problem in this season for sure.
Thank you, Chris.
And thanks for your vote. We'll
Thank you.
good to get rehabilitated there.
All right, next on our agenda is the town hall use policy revision.
This is something that Lisa and I and Patty have been working on. We're seeing a lot of use of the building, auditorium, and other areas. And there's a cost associated with us to keep the floors cleaned, and we just decided that we need to have something in place to control and how it's used, and also provide enough funding to clean the place up, which was the bathrooms, and most importantly, the auditorium floor, which is, we're actually looking to get a cost of having that resealed again, because it's pretty worn. I guess you were told last time they refinished it that this was the last time that they recommended that we sand it. So we were looking to have a gymnasium quality thickness put on it too. But we haven't got any prices on that yet. But it's, we don't think the costs are prohibitive from people using it. It's just covering our cost. You know.
You have the old policy in here also. Most of the changes are, increasing in the cleaning deposits and the fees. Is for nonprofit individuals and groups, it'd be $120 for a 3-hour block. is, and $200 for a 3-hour block if they're, let's see,
Open bar.
right. So the first is profit organizations, a resident can rent it for $200 for a 3-hour block, and a non-resident is $300 for a 3-hour block. And then there are other fees in there also for other uses of the building. And it also increases the liability insurance that the people have to have. So, any questions?
No. You think these fees, elevated fees would be enough to cover?
Well, I think it's a starting point,
Yeah.
because you haven't really charged before. It's just concerns that we're beefing up and putting money into the auditorium and other parts of the building. That, we want to make sure we can maintain it, user fees.
I would move that we accept the revised Berwick Town Hall use policy with increased fees as presented.
I'll second it.
I'll second.
Two one.
Same time.
Any further discussion? This is something that we talked about for the last few years, actually. And as Steve said, we're starting to get more use. And, since we've been working on the auditorium with the new windows and hopefully new shades and things soon, we're trying to bring everything up to snuff. And this will just make it so it's that much easier to maintain. All those in favor? Thank you. And since we're on the town hall use policy, I'll just put a plug in for our little theater company, which is doing shows up there on the weekends. What is it, Little Shop of Horrors? They're doing this time around.
Seems like they had a few more people than last time. There were more seats out, so that's good.
Yeah. So. Is something you want to say about that, or the next one?
Next one.
All right. The next on the agenda is set the public hearing date for the June 12th annual town election.
Well,
Okay,
I
we
was
have
gonna
recommendations?
recommend- I do, for May 15th, but now that you have Port City, you might want to consider June 5th. It's up to you.
When's the election for state
June
officials?
12th.
It's June
May-
12th.
June 12th?
June 12th.
So we should do it the same time as that then, right?
No, this is the public hearing for the warrant article.
Yeah, we have the public hearing before the vote.
So why don't we do it the week before?
That's what you just said.
You
Say
can.
people coming, they're gonna get more people coming to vote.
Well, the school's voting at the same time, so
Right.
you'll probably get a pretty good turnout. I would hope.
So-
This is just to give the public time to comment on the warrant articles.
It-
Nothing can change at that point, but they can ask questions.
You said June 5th?
Yep.
That gives us enough time before the election? So,
So moved.
June 5th?
we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
And to set the polling hours.
Yes, I'm going to request 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. again.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
No, I think it's good.
All those in favor? Thank you. And before we move on, there's one other, see if where I stuck it, Patty. Abatement, quitclaim deeds. The school warrant one, I have it here someplace, I know I do, I just looked at it.
Do you have a copy of that?
I don't have a copy with me. It's for you guys to sign.
Yeah.
So it got voted in? Oh, the warrant for what they want.
This is just, every year I get a packet and I have to post it around town. It's just their question that will be on the ballot, which is, do you approve the budget?
What is the budget?
There's no number. It's not been voted on yet. That
They're
vote
asking to
is-
sign this now?
Yes, because the question remains the same whatever the budget
Ridiculous.
is.
It's the most
know it, I
ridiculous thing
know
I've
it.
ever heard in my life. No, I'm not
I don't
signing.
even think they, extended.
They should have the thing here so we can vote on a town meeting. That's what they should have.
Well, the hearing, the budget hearing is May 21st, I believe, Monday. Let me just use my cell phone to look at a date. Yeah, it's May 21st. That's at Novo at 6 o'clock. That's when they go through every article and people vote on it. The question that's on the ballot basically states, do you approve the budget for the fiscal year, no matter what the,
I'm not gonna
they
approve
don't
Well,
anything.
we
mention the
need,
amount.
we need people to go
Yeah,
to
but
that
we're
hearing
not
at
gonna,
the
I'm not
school.
signing any
Right.
budget now until I see the budget.
Well, it's
That's-
not, it's just the warrant stating that the election is the 12th of June.
Yeah.
It's warning the residents to come vote, warning, that's a bad word, but that's legally what they put on it. And the question will be the same whether, no matter what the budget is approved at for the amount. The question on the ballot is just, do you approve the budget
Right.
for fiscal
There's
year?
no dollar amount, right.
Right, no dollar amount.
So to Ed's point, they need to kind of get out there and be involved in that process.
More, I forget how many people showed up last year to approve the school budget, or the articles of the budget, but it wasn't that many people. I mean, it was very, very few.
Usually we get around 30 to 40
Total?
Out of
for all
entire
three towns?
town.
Yep,
going to the hearing.
Yes.
And that's when you can ask to have numbers changed.
Right.
What was the date of that?
May 21st.
First, it's a
May
Monday.
21st? What time?
The more people we can get
6
there
o'clock
to that, I
that
think
Monday.
would be the most beneficial thing that we could
I'm gonna go?
do. Yeah.
6 o'clock?
Did you find it, Tom?
no, I haven't.
It might be stuck to another paper.
Yeah.
Those sticky notes that you-
I don't know what you sign something like that.
It's just if
The
they
quick
legal
claim
it,
deed.
annoying, you know, you should be doing
Did I
it
stick it in with these?
after they do it. You should point it out.
That's all the abatements and applications. That's the,
Wait a minute, is it attached to this? Is it this?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry. I'm sitting here thinking, I've got something.
yeah. All right. Got passed down by mistake. So this is the notice of the election is, this is, we need to vote on this so Patty can post it.
Actually,
make-
I only need your signatures.
Yeah, you don't need a vote?
No. Legally, we have to post it,
Okay,
so the school board's already signed it.
all right, already signed. Isn't that good? There we go.
What, are we supposed to sign something else?
See,
And
so-
sign the wrong
so-
thing?
I know. I'm like,
Nope,
it said sign here, I signed there.
Wait,
Thank you.
wait to sign this. What do we got to get this, Cahagan and character going? You know, this is, to me, ridiculous. It's
It is
Spring in
ridiculous.
the air, it's warm
I've
out.
Expressed that to his attorney a number of times. And last time I shot him off an email, which was Monday, I told him that at this point, the board is considering just handing you back the property.
We don't want to pay it back yet.
Well, it's up to you. I mean,
Do you want to hand it back to them? I mean, they gotta come up.
he
with-
still needs to come before the board. Josh had asked that before we do anything of giving it back, that he come before the Board of Selectmen and,
Josh.
Josh,
Josh.
this Josh.
So Josh asked, he's gotta come before.
No, yeah, he's got to come before the board before we hand anything back to him. That has been made very clear to his attorney as well as him. And so, but when you
Nothing
can't
else
find, when
we
you
can
can't
do.
get a response out of him,
There's nothing else we can do. This is it. We're kinda stuck. We can't just,
I have, our attorney, Mary Costigan, is looking at it, at the original contract. At her first read through it, she didn't think there was much we could do, but she.
that's the lawyer.
That's the lawyer, yeah. And I will speak to her on Thursday. I'm gonna training session
Just don't
tomorrow in
understand
Augusta.
why.
Well, I think what it should be known is that back when this was voted on in 2014 in November, the contract, the deal that we signed was basically saying he's going to fund the escrow account. And so that's basically where it says, hey, he's put all that money up front for this. And then in the end, the return is he gets it back. Now, of course, people who voted against it, myself included, stated that our concern was that in part we didn't know what we were going to get. Even if we can't get a full plan, we pretty much didn't get much of anything. And secondly, all the money he owed in water, back taxes, and sewer was either wiped clean or that was paid off, and he got that cleaned up for free and given back to him without any kind of an investment. He didn't have to pay
Nope.
for both things.
Nope.
So in the end, he won.
When one yet?
Well, he's going to get the property back. We've agreed to that deal. He's the only one that we're working with on that, and he's put the money in that we said would suffice to do the matching funds. And it was also in part the deal that said we forgive basically your old debts because that's how you're using the money. We're using the money.
No, we didn't forgive the old debts, I believe he paid off the water and sewer debts.
And there's still some that he has to pay off. He hasn't, it's not completely paid off.
What is it?
The water and sewer,
So he's got, before he closes on that.
Right.
before
that's
we
all
get-
part of the closing.
Okay.
There's about a $30,000 differential, but the numbers between what was going to go into the escrow versus what was owed, they're on the same table, and there was no extra money put into escrow separate from paying off those 3 outstanding bills that he had between water, sewer, and taxes. So in the end, he did get a very sweetheart deal from this town, an incredibly sweetheart
There's no
deal.
doubt about it.
Yeah. And the town did get something. We have a site across the way that is no longer a hazardous eyesore that's waiting to be burned down.
Well, not
No.
yet.
As we have, it did get cleaned up. If we hadn't entered into some kind of agreement with him, it would still be sitting there. And nothing would be happening now. So,
He has put some of his own money into it as well. For all the grants that we got from Southern Maine Planning and Development, that didn't come out of the escrow money, that came out of
I'm
his
not
pocket.
looking for his defense, though, to be truthful with you. I don't care what he's done, he hasn't done enough, and I want to get his dead ass going. It's basically what I can tell you.
It's sitting there, and we need to do something. We do. This is
I will
ridiculous.
attempt to get through to his lawyer.
I'd send him a registered letter from the lawyer.
Right.
Send him a registered letter, he's got to get that.
Yeah.
Can we just get an email about the difference between the money that was used for, in general, matching funds with EPA versus Southern Maine planning money, how that wound up being found? Because I was under the impression that actually that came out of part of what was in the escrow and what's used as part of what he still owed. That's what I thought it was.
He had $250,000 in escrow, and that was basically what was owed. I think it was $267,000 was owed on the back taxes at that
Is
time.
that gone now?
And there's still $10,000 of that in Skelton Taylor and Abbott's escrow account. But that will be handled at closing as well.
Since that's in a TIF district, the value of that property goes up, right?
When he starts, yeah, it will go up when he starts putting money into it, putting more value. I think it has increased in value, I think, by $200,000 at this point,
Just for cleaning it up.
because we cleaned it up and took a lot of
That'll
the blight.
increase $1 million.
So, but I can, at the next meeting, I can definitely provide you with a spreadsheet of what he spent, all the money that he owed, and where
Have
we
we
are.
had that appraised as it is right now?
I think the appraisal's up to date. I think Paul did do an update, and it has increased in value.
Not just 200,000,
Yeah.
better than nothing.
So I'll have that for you at the next meeting, if not sooner. If he can get here before our next meeting, I'll definitely try to get him on a Tuesday night. He did call and it only gave me a day's notice, half a day notice to get everybody here, and it just couldn't get you here. So
That snowed anyway, didn't it, or
it
something?
snowed like the Dickens, and he was trying to get a plane out of Boston to get over to London. So I just,
Oh, he lives in Boston?
no, he lives in
Raleigh.
North Carolina,
In
Raleigh.
Florida.
But
Next door to
he's,
Tiger Woods. Yeah, he lives in that same neighborhood.
yeah. Well, I think he lives on a golf course, so
Yeah.
whether he plays or not, I don't know. But
that brings us to quitclaim deeds. is,
Have anything, do you?
what's that?
I don't think you have any quick claim deeds.
Yeah, we do.
You do? Just
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Right?
Quick claim deed.
One
One quick claim deed, 2 abatements, and 2 supplements. Now, the quick claim,
No, it's under 14.
yeah, the quick claim deed is on a property that had been in payment to us, and they have fulfilled their payments. And, you know, they've caught up to everything on their taxes, and this is just for us to, sign it back over to them. It's for, map R045 lot 024000000 is, there was a lien on it from August 2013, and they have paid that off. So it's just, we need to
Transfer it back.
transfer it back to them. I will make a motion that we,
Vote on it?
with that?
I didn't know we had to vote on that. I thought since they paid it, they just
Yeah. Well,
reverted back to them. I guess we do
yeah,
have to
we
vote.
have to,
We
because
have-
we're transferring the
That's right.
property back in.
Right.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the quitclaim deed for map R045 lot 024.
Second your motion.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor? And this is the one that needs to be signed in black ink, correct? So. So then we have abatements. Let's see, that's the supplement, that's the supplement. And let's see. 11 Wilson Street. Is, the first abatement is for 11 Wilson Street, map U004, lot 145. Is, they'd,
He got an increase in his taxes because it's in the TIF district? Became more valuable? What I read.
Well, it's saying it should
They're
also be
asking-
denied.
They're asking for a denial on this.
Yeah.
The owner thought because they were in the TIF district, the value of their property would not increase. The last time the assessing staff went out, they did increase it, I think, by 46,000.
47,900 is the,
Yes.
Is that because it's in a TIF district?
No, it's because of improvements or
improvements they've
whatever
done on everything.
that was done to the property. So
It's,
the
So
it has
owner
nothing to do
was
with
under the
location.
understanding, since they were now in the TIF district, the property couldn't increase or their
Oh, Lord.
taxes couldn't.
So-
I think I might have talked to him and said, if he does any improvements, right, from now, once it's in a TIF district, right, he doesn't have to pay the taxes on the amount of those improvements, that money gets paid as, into a TIF,
Right,
which will improve the sidewalks and all that, right?
right, yep.
Right.
So his taxes will still stay the same, right? Or will they stay the same, or they, or
Now,
they?
his taxes will ultimately go up, but in terms of how the state assesses what we get back in value, everything that increases in value within the TIF doesn't
They
count
should be
against
happy
our.
that it increased in value, right, other than he's gotta pay taxes on it.
Right, right. Yeah, you know, even though it's in the TIF district, if they do the improvements on it, the value increases.
I thought the value increases, but you don't pay any more taxes.
It's a matter of state assessment, the fact that if you're looking at revenue sharing dollars, things of that nature, when a TIF exists, anything of value increased within that TIF district doesn't count against the town's valuation, which means the higher your valuation, the more you're expected to put into your funding, thusly means the state doesn't subsidize that amount.
Right,
And then when the TIF runs out, then we're forced to go ahead and pick up that tab.
Yeah. And the assessors say, since we could not confirm that the property card has incorrect information, it is recommended that this abatement request be denied.
Plus he couldn't view the property.
What was that?
it says, despite numerous attempts by assessing an inspection date and time cannot be
No,
scheduled.
that, you're on the other one, I think.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah. No, on the same one.
same
Nope,
one.
so-
Oh, yeah,
Third
yep.
paragraph.
Okay, yeah, down underneath. So,
So this is a recommendation of our assessor, correct?
correct.
They're saying to deny it, he's saying, right?
Yeah.
So I would move that we accept the recommendation of the town assessor to deny said request for tax map users of for lot 145.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Yep. Opposed? Not agree? Okay. The next one is 101 Love Brook Road, map R063, lot 3F. The owner was concerned about it being assessed at a greater value than the current market. After the abatement application was submitted, the owner called the assessing office to rescind this abatement application since they are planning to sell the property and do not want to schedule an inspection. Since we could not confirm that the property card has incorrect information, nor could a market analysis be completed, it is recommended that this abatement request be denied.
I would move we accept the recommendation of a town assessor for tax map R063 lot 3F as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. That brings us to supplementals. The first one is on 115 Old Pine Hill Road North, map U007-47. Is, this, single-family dwelling on 5 acres, it was placed in farmland classification in 2009. To qualify as farmland, a tract of land must generate a gross income of at least $2,000 per year from the sale of agricultural products. And one of the 2, 3, or 5 calendar years preceding the date of application for classification. Based on research by the assessor's office and the estate's personal representative's admission, the owner has not met the income requirement and is currently not using the land as farmland, nor has any intention of using it as farmland. It is recommended that a supplemental bill be issued in the amount of $934.03 for the assessed values for each of the preceding 5 years plus interest as noted on the attached spreadsheet. So this is a piece of property that has not been used for the farmland and so no longer qualifies as such.
I would move we accept the recommendation of the town assessor for the supplemental assessment pertaining to map plot U007 TAC 47 as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
Why don't we try to buy this place for some land? It's got
Another 41 acres?
about 5 acres parcel.
That parcel
Next
is
one,
in front of
41.
the planning board right now for a subdevelopment.
The town could take up eminent domain,
Yeah.
pay the fair market value, right? A developer putting apartments in there, that would be the end of it. That'd cost way
Yeah,
longer.
that's something we gotta talk about.
What's that?
This, we gotta control our growth.
I know, that's,
Every time I drive down the road, I mean, it's just, We have no control, no handle on the amount of development that's going on.
We think we have issues with the school budget now. You wait.
It's gonna be significant.
I was talking about this one, 41 acres.
But yeah, I think we need to put that on the agenda in the future. and
Yeah,
have
we
a
need
serious
to-
discussion on a moratorium of some sort.
You guys
And
are
that's
in that.
maybe meeting with the planning board or.
I can set up another meeting with the planning board. It might be a good meeting to have.
That would be a good idea.
Do you want to try and do it in May or June?
I would say as soon as possible.
Okay, I'll set that up.
What is,
Thank you.
what is the taxes on,
Are you on the last one?
with the farmland classification, it's 14.2 for the house and, let's see what the land is valued at. At 41 acres.
So the 41 acre piece.
Can you break it down on what the land's valued at?
It should on this.
If you have the card,
It says 61 acres here. See that? See, it says 61
Crop-
acres here.
Mm-hmm.
Face value.
So what is it?
so,
Census degree, so it's coming in at what, 70?
61 acres of land, it must be swamp. A 10-9?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
all right, the second one is for a piece
Oh,
of
that's
property on
fine.
Old Pine, on Pine Hill Road,
Land, that's why, that's correct.
map R036-26. The property is a vacant 41 acre parcel that was placed in farmland classification in 2009. Is same thing, so it needs to generate income. And said, based on the research by the assessor's office and the estate's personal representative admission, the owner has not met the income requirement and is currently not using the land as farmland or has any intention of using it as farmland. It is recommended that a supplemental bill be issued in the amount of $12,340.44 for the assessed values for each of the preceding 5 years plus interest as noted on the attached spreadsheet. So, yeah, I'm familiar with this property. It's a wooded piece. I don't know how it ever got into the farmland, property, because there's no, last time there was fields there were 50 years ago. There's,
And the owner is aware of both of these supplemental bills and has already brought a check in that we couldn't accept until you guys approve it, so.
Okay, all right.
so,
I move we accept the town assessor's recommendation for the supplemental assessment for map lot R036, TAC 26, as presented.
Second it.
any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
What is the taxes on 41 acres? I can't see where it tells me what the taxes are on 41 acres. I'm just trying to figure out.
What,
you
for
see-
the land?
Yeah. So- Praise-
The current
praise-
tax rate is
Appraised parcel value,
Is
154.
their current tax rate 1575?
It's 115.74 right here, appraised parcel value, does that include the house, appraised land value? No.
Yes, that's appraisal value. So building 000, land.
Just the land, so
Yeah,
155,
so 150.
So,
141.
all right, that brings us to our second public comment. There's a second public comment is, please step to the podium and give your name, if you have any. Any public comment? No? We have an executive session scheduled, with two different issues in it. Before we get to that, is there any other business non-agenda item to be brought up? We will be coming back into session after the executive session,
Why?
because we have to vote on some things.
For the vote.
I'll make a motion
Divide this by
that we,
this,
I have one question, I guess.
divided by 155?
Is the discussion of personnel related to previous discussions of the same personnel questions? Is it on the same vein as the previous?
yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to reissue my request that you not be a part of that discussion.
Okay. I'm gonna make a motion that we go into executive session
It's like 3.75.
for discussion of personnel under Title I, subsection 405, 6A, and acquisition of real estate property, Title I, subsection 405, 6C.
Second your motion.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Opposed? We'll come back into public session. We came out of executive session at 8:15. During executive session, we discussed the town manager's contract and his evaluation. It's our opinion that the town manager should have a new contract for a 3-year term. I will make a motion that we accept the town manager's contract as presented to us.
I'll second your motion.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor? 4-0. We'll have that available for the public to see after everything's all signed and taken care of. Any other business?
No, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Opposed?
No, I'm good.
Okay.